D.C. protects its own, from Jeffrey Epstein's sweetheart deal a decade ago to Hunter Biden today. So what's new? Federal prosecutors are charging the first son with 2 misdemeanor tax charges and a felony gun possession charge, despite the big guy having assured us, the public, just a month ago on MSNBC that...
First of all, my son's done nothing wrong. I trust him. I have faith in him. And it impacts my presidency by making me feel proud of him.
Turns out that was a lie. Who would have guessed? Now, the sweetheart part of these charges is that the 53-year-old will plead guilty to the willful failure to pay federal income tax in the years 2017 and 2018 is being reported, and then he will enter into pretrial diversion for the gun charge related to his omission of crack cocaine use while filling out the forms to purchase his firearm about 5 years ago. The diversion will allow for prosecutors to drop the charges against him if certain conditions are met, such as seeking treatment for substance abuse. So it's a get-out-of-jail-free card. Obviously, this is more than hypocrisy. It's a two-tier justice system. But beyond that, what I fear is that the regular public will look at this move by the DOJ as actually helping Joe in 2024, because then it's harder for the right to make the case to normies, I guess you could call them, that President Trump is facing a politically charged persecution. I mean, obviously, we know that, but we aren't the voters who need to be swayed on this. The ones who don't know many details about either of these cases will say, well, how can it be political for Trump to face charges when the sitting president's own son got charged? See, our DOJ is fair. Again, we know that's not the case. The Bidens are getting the same treatment Hillary Clinton did back in 2016, when she could proudly proclaim that James Comey and the FBI cleared her of serious wrongdoing. Well, President Trump couldn't say the same as he faced illegal spying and an entire entrapment scheme and hoax. Joining us now to discuss is radio host Andrea Kaye, the host of The Andrea Kaye Show. Andrea, thanks for being here tonight.
Always great to be with you.
Great. So you heard some of my thoughts a moment ago. Do you think the sweetheart deal for Hunter was designed to actually boost Joe Biden going into next year's presidential election, rather than to push him aside in favor of someone like California's governor in the Democrat primaries?
Well, I think it's meant to push him aside. I actually predicted on my show about 6 months ago that one of the ways in which they would get rid of a stubborn Joe Biden, who was determined to stay in the race, was kind of go to him behind the scenes. In fact, I might have even mentioned it here on your show, that the play might be to go to Biden behind the scenes and say, look, we'll cook up a sweetheart deal for you with your son Hunter, and then sometime later as we go into primary season, you're going to ease out on the basis of some kind of crisis in the family, etc. I don't think that they're going to make it be obvious about his dementia, because then that will, or any of his other ailments, because then that would reinforce some of the allegations made against him. But I think this is clearly to push him out.
No, I think, definitely there is some validity to those concerns. I mean, we've seen Governor Gavin Newsom. I mean, he's as slimy as they get. When Joe was out of town, remember, you had Newsom at the White House kind of looking around. You see him really trying to make big, bold claims about adding a new amendment to the Constitution. He's definitely trying to raise his national profile. So I'm sure there's probably a war behind the scenes. Either let's try and help Biden for 2024, because Democrats love their puppets. They love their puppets in office who they can just let sit there, and then they can get powerful behind the scenes, because they know the guy in office doesn't know what's going on, and they like it that way. But then, as you said, there's another faction who they're hitching their star to Governor Gavin Newsom, and I guess only time will tell. Some lawyers have pointed out that still on the DOJ's website, though, who knows, it'll probably get scrubbed like everything else does these days. But on the website, it was saying when it comes to this diversion to kind of almost not exactly expunge, but sort of some of these serious charges, is that actually you're not eligible if you're being accused of something that has to do with, say, a firearm. So obviously they were saying, some of these lawyers are saying that Hunter Biden actually wouldn't be able to meet that, but it seems the sweetheart deal, he might be getting it anyway. I mean, do you think that kind of goes back to what we're saying with the two-tier justice system?
Absolutely, and it's another reason why the American people are not going to buy this, is though, see, the Justice Department is even-handed here and nobody is above the law. I get that that's how the advocates, the spokespeople of today are trying to, that's the narrative they're trying to push. But look, there was a poll out just yesterday, I believe, that said a majority of the American people, 63% of Democrats and 63% of independents, and 53% of Democrats said that this indictment against Donald Trump was politically based and that he would be acquitted.